Burnout. Oh my goodness. We're going to talk a whole lot today about some mixed messages that I might be giving, or I have gotten, or I have seen, or anyway, let's get into it. I had a major burnout moment back in July of 2017. My job was eliminated on the very same day that my very best friend in this whole world lost her battle with cancer. And a week before this, I had broken my knee in a zillion places. Everything in it except the ACL. And there was a lot of pieces in there. And the job loss ended my insurance in 4 days. So I couldn't seek medical help for over 3 months. I had so many things to cry about that I just couldn't breathe. And I'm telling you this not because I want to play the victim, although I can do that pretty well, but because this story has a happy ending. Or at least it led me to a new beginning. So it ended up being a good thing. As I slowly healed my spirit and my soul, I landed back in my art room. Back in my beloved art room. My job, before this, my real job, had been running a university for over 10,000 bloggers with the largest social media network out there. And it took all my energy for 7+ years. And I hadn't been in my creative space more than a few times in that whole period. Yikes. I hadn't created much of anything except 80+ courses. So I was creative, just in a different way. And in those 7+8 years, so much changed in the art world. Junk journaling had become a thing. A big thing. Mixed media had exploded everywhere. And sadly, I was no longer part of any of it. So let me back up just a little bit and tell you a little bit about where this beautiful book came from. I created this in 2008. I did it for, I was doing some internet TV shows at the time. So it was over 12 years ago. And this, if you looked at it today and you saw it today and you thought it was made today, you would probably call this a junk journal. But that wasn't what we were calling them at that time. This was more of an art journal. Let me flip open a couple of pages and show you. I promise that I will, sometime this week, I will get in here and I will make a flip through video of this for you. But I just want to show you a couple of pages. This was really about journaling. I really did journal some of this in here. And so at that time, back in 2008, 2009, there was journaling. There was art journaling. There was bookmaking. There was altered books and altered art. There was collage and more. But the term junk journal was not spoken of, or at least it wasn't something I knew of. So I did some research today, and I found that the earliest mention of junk journaling that I can find on the internet, and I went back some 25, 30 pages deep to find this, that on June 27th of 2010, Julie Fife-Ann Balzer announced her new cloth, paper, scissors DVD collage called Fast and Furious. And in there, she said, there is no need to buy special equipment. Use what you have on hand. Junk mail, cardboard toilet paper tubes, plastic forks. I'm reading this so I can get it right. And mix it up with your art supplies. So that wasn't really junk journaling, but that was the first mention that I had heard to use junk mail as an art supply. Then on May 11th, 2011, in a blog post by Desiree Tillman Moffat of Lone Lily at Blogspot, said, I have started to work on a junk journal. That is from a swap I did. So that was the first mention I could find in all of my Googleness today or yesterday when I was writing this. So this research, of course, took me right straight down a rabbit hole, which is what usually happens with me, because anything to keep me from actually doing, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So let me bring us back to today and my little mixed media book. Mixed messages book. And about getting back into my studio at long, long last. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the people in the video and I get all goofed up when I do that. So getting back into the studio was a hit or miss thing for me while I was healing. And bless her soul and heart, my really good friend Karen, the graphics fairy, took pity on me. And she asked me if I could do a weekly mixed media tutorial on her graphics fairy blog. And I had been doing Photoshop digital art tutorials on her paid subscription site for probably about a year before that. So, and it was so much fun for me to get my hands dirty once again. And I have been doing that for almost 4 years now for Karen. And I am blessed. I was doing my own thing. I was doing stuff for Karen, but I was not really committed to it. I was to her, but I wasn't really committed to myself, which is like, what? And during this whole time, I was actually searching for a way to survive. When all that stuff had come down with me, losing my job, breaking my knee, losing my best friend came down, I had nowhere to turn except to God. And I just gave it all to God. And I said, God, you've got to get me through this, because I don't have a clue how to do this. And I didn't. And I still don't. And I still don't know how I've made it almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in July. I tried so many great ideas, so many things, learn with me, grow with me, Facebook challenges, and those all fizzled. And it really left me drained. And more than that, it left me feeling like maybe art wasn't a good place for me to be. That was scary. That was scary, because I've always been creative and I've always worked with my art, always. So fast forward to late last year, and I'm in a couple of masterminds with some beautiful people, and one of them said something. Well, I'll tell you about the turning moment for me. It was when all of them had said that they had taken the December off. They took it off to be with their families and do what they want to do. And they also all said it was their biggest money-making month in a long time. They didn't work hardly at all, yet they made more money. And I was sitting there, we were all doing our wins as we do normally in a mastermind. And that just kind of smacked me up the side of the face. And I'm like, I worked my tail off during December, and I didn't make anything. So that became my put up or shut up dark night of the soul moment. And that continued for the next few weeks. And I was stuck. I was absolutely stuck. I was spinning in ideas and drowning in incompetence. Inertia. Inertia had set in, and it was winning. Over the summer 2019, I had done a very successful series for Karen called How to Make a Junk Journal on the Graphic Sphere. If you want to go find it, it's a great thing. And I loved every moment of that. I love the paper. I love the glue. I love the sewing. I love the cutting. I love every part. And I discovered again, or it reawakened in me, what I had so clearly known in the early 2000s when I launched Creativa's blog on Blogspot. I think it was 2004. I am a bohemian artist, and I am a bookmaker. And those things started to sink into my head at that point in time. And, you know, I've taken a couple of courses where people were trying to put you in the right direction and put you in your niche and all this wonderful social media speak that there is out there. And I've always been, I want to do everything for everybody. And that's never been really good for me or successful for me. So with the learning from all those kind of classes I was taking, I kind of narrowed in on what I needed to do. And I needed to do books. I could use the words that I love, the storytelling I love. I could make my digital art and turn it into printables. I could sew. I love to sew and work with my hands. I love to cut, although you know that if you've been following me, I'm not cutting so well any longer. But anyway, I have studied with some of the most beautiful master bookmakers in the world. Keith Smith, Dan Essick, Dia Sasso, DJ Pettit, and many others. And I was making beautiful books back in the 2000s, just like this little jewel that I love so much. And I keep this right here behind me in this little cabinet. This has got a lot of my artwork in it to just make me happy when I sit down at this desk. Then the idea hit me that I wanted to do this thing called Book of the Month Club, where we would make one beautifully themed book every month for the whole year. And I would create the videos, design the printables, hold people's hands and cheerlead them through the process. And that's what I have done for so many years as a teacher. I've taught thousands of students worldwide art and digital stuff and Photoshop and InDesign. I've done these things for years. So my daughter even came up with a beautiful hashtag name for it called BOMO 2020, Book of the Month Club. Duh, I love that. But the problem was I didn't have any fans or followers or students. I had kind of lost all that when I stepped away and stepped into my real job in social media for so many years. So anyway, I decided I was going to devote this entire year, 2020, to building a massive amount of hopefully good tutorial videos so that people would get to know me and my teaching style. Please tell me how I'm doing. So today, right now, I'm creating video number 47. I'm actually doing this with you and for you. And I know there are others out there who are just like me and you and have a creative space, have tools and supplies and a nagging desire to create, but they don't, for whatever reason, holds them back. So I'm asking you to help me find them, help me reach them, help me inspire them. Remember, it's just 20 minutes a day of nourishing your creative self every day. I borrow again from Julie Balser. No need to finish anything and no need to even like it. Just find 20 minutes to nourish yourself and your creativity every day. All the techniques in my Dreamers into Doers video are done in 20 minutes. It's not really about the art. It's about you and your journey. There are no rules. It's all about you finding your personal daily creative practice. Simply, that's what it is, whatever that looks like. So I'm asking you to find your contagious creativity and then pass it on. May joy be with you all. See you tomorrow.